Hey guys, Army Wife here. This video is a women in security video again. Kind of working on a little series here of videos for carrying weapons or just home defense. The thing that I need to stress, that I failed to stress in my last video, is that if you're carrying a concealed weapon, you need to have a permit. I guess I just kind of take that as being the obvious. And I'm going to explain to you how laws work. In Virginia, you can conceal carry with a permit, and you can open carry without a permit, which means you can carry it in plain view. And people say, well, what law tells you you can do that? The Second Amendment of the Constitution is what gives me that right. My right to carry a firearm is the Second Amendment. Now, laws take away what the Constitution gives you. When they write a law, they're taking your freedoms away. Not giving you freedom, they're taking your freedoms away. I think a lot of people misunderstand that. And sometimes when they write laws, they do it to make it sound like they're giving you permission to do something that the Constitution is already giving you permission to do. The carrying firearms from state to state, if you have a concealed carry permit, was granted to you by the Second Amendment. Now, the states wrote laws taking that right away from you, going from state to state. Now, the law that they just wrote basically, in a sense, gave some of those rights back to you, but they didn't give them to you originally. I hope I'm making sense. Laws are not written to give you something, they're written to take something away. Okay, I'll tell you what it was. That law that the feds wrote was a law taking the state's right to control concealed carry away from the state. So they took it away. Okay? They didn't give anything to anybody. They took it away. So in Virginia, people say, well, what law says that you can open carry a weapon? Because I open carry. If people say, well, why? What law says that you can? The Constitution is what says I can. But what law says it? The Constitution. People don't understand that. Their laws are written to take your rights away. Whenever you see a law, a bill, anything, that is your first reaction should be, what are they taking away from me? Because that's what they're doing. They're taking things away from you. They may make it try to sound like they're giving you something, but what they're doing is they're taking things away. So, please remember that you need to check your state's laws on open carry, concealed carry. If you are in Virginia, you can open carry. You can conceal carry with a permit. Now, I am a veteran. As long as you have a DD-214 and $50, you got your CCW. Or if you're active duty military like my husband, all he had to do is show his military ID, his active duty military ID, and $50, and he has his CCW. The form was literally 1 page. It took us 5 minutes to fill it out. It was pretty quick. I know they're doing they do background checks and all that stuff, but, you know, if you've never done anything, then it's not that big of a deal. Now, open carry, you need to check to make sure your state has not taken that right away from you. Check that very carefully. And also check that against your hunting laws. Because sometimes during hunting season, your rights that you would have the rest of the year are taken away from you. Think about that. So, went over the carry permits. The next thing that I wanted to say is that if you're going to discharge your weapon in self-defense, it needs to be, you need to be in imminent threat. You how did you term
Imminent, unavoidable threat.
An imminent, unavoidable threat. He always remembers these terms, but he's better at these word things than I am. But anyway, I always say just an imminent threat, but he always reminds me that it's got to be unavoidable, because some people say, well, he threatened me, but you have to be able to try to avoid it first. You're not going to walk into a fight. You're not going to walk up to a bar fight and whip out your gun. You don't do things like that. If you do, shame on you, and you just make the rest of us look bad. If you pull your weapon to threaten somebody, you walk up to somebody else's vehicle and pull out your gun and tell them to get on the ground, you are really, really screwing things up for the rest of us. And it is not intended to be your right to carry is not intended to be some form of a power trip. You're not on a power trip. And the other thing I also wanted to say real quick is that if you're carrying, you need to do your very, very best not to fidget with your firearm. You are going to be really self-conscious of it. You don't want to fidget with it, because if you're fidgeting with it, somebody could think that you're going to pull it, because they're going to know you have a gun if you're fidgeting with it all the time, because it's there, and one thing that you might want to do is get your holster and wear your holster empty. Sounds kind of silly, but if you're fidgeting and you're touching it all the time because it's something new and it's uncomfortable to you, maybe if you wear that holster around and to where it becomes second nature to you, second skin, then maybe you won't have the urge to fiddle with it and to touch it. If you're open carrying, definitely do not be fidgeting and putting your hands on it. People can perceive that in a million different ways. But definitely, if you're concealed carrying, you don't want anybody to know that you have that. You don't want anybody to know you have that weapon. That is the beauty of carrying concealed, is you have the element of surprise. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to go over for this video about, the self-defense and carrying a weapon. So, anyway, this is my wife signing out.